Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Packaging Europe podcast. My name is Elisabeth Skoda. The ASASE Foundation was created by Mosora and Hilda Addah in 2017 in Accra in Ghana. And the goal of this was to enable Ghanaian women entrepreneurs to play a key role in cashing in on the plastic waste of Accra, of which there is unfortunately plenty, for the benefit of their own communities. For this podcast, I'm really excited to have Hilda and Dana here with me today. And we'll have a talk about the foundation and its work, and also how this fits in with the broader picture of tackling plastic waste in Ghana, across Africa, and also across the world. Welcome both. Thank you very much for being here today with me. Yes, we could get started by maybe talking a bit more about you and your backgrounds. Maybe let's start with you, Hilda. What's your background?
Yes, so my training is community development and social work, and also education. And over the years, I have been in development work, working with children in schools and in community to bring about the necessary change in our part of the world. Communities lack a lot of basic amenities and infrastructure and all that. So as a community development person, we help to mobilize and bring those essential needs to community, especially children. So for 15 years, that has been my work until I met Dana. But apart from my work and all that, I want to tell you a bit about my view about plastics prior to meeting Dana. When I was a child, we had a pet that ate a lot of plastics and died. Our beloved pet was killed by eating plastic that it cannot digest. Of course, at that time, maybe I was 5, 6, so I didn't know exactly what it was. But when I became conscious enough and I was told that it was the plastics, I became very, very anti-plastic. And so in my adult life, mine is, you know what, this is not good for us. We must ban it. I was very against plastics. And then Dana and I met. Dana, and she introduced another side of plastics to me. She made me aware that plastics has become part of our civilization. We cannot do without it. And indeed, reflecting on her wisdom, it is a vital part of our everyday existence. And so I had to relook at this and reflect back on. And I realized, of course, both of us all realized that it is a problem. The plastics is a problem that we have to deal with. And we have to join forces and look at it positively on how to tackle it. And so my re-evolution to who I have become today.
That's a really interesting journey, I think. Yes, and that also brings it home, the story about the pet that died. That really illustrates the damage plastics can cause in a very personal way. I would also like to talk a bit about your background.
Well, I'm coming from the packaging industry and the plastic industry in particular, having retired from the Dow packaging business in Europe. And when I went to Ghana was to follow the challenge put on me by one of my ex-colleagues, whom I was trying to advise how to deal with the plastic problem in Ghana. And he told me one day, you know what, you better come here and see with your own eyes. Maybe your advices would become more relevant. So this is how, by taking the challenge, I went and I met Hilda. And what she made me realize is a reciprocity, right? I told her the story of Latin. She told me the story of women in Africa. And I realized that whatever I have in mind to do is, my legacy project would have to be with enabling women from underprivileged communities to make a change. Because in Africa, you can rely on women and you can work with them to influence the entire community. And if they buy in your idea, they would most likely stay committed to a shared vision. So, this is how we decided to put together the ASASE Foundation, which stands for protecting the earth, the environment. ASASE means Mother Earth in one of the local dialects. And this is how we decided to also put women at the center of everything we do.
And I think that's so important as well, because often when there's already great poverty, it seems that women sort of suffer even more from the effects of it for various reasons. And you sort of touched upon already what inspired you to set up ASASE together. Could you tell me a bit more about the work you do and some of the key milestones of the project?
Yes. So, ASASE actually started, like Dana said, with a focus on women. And for us, women are the pillar of community. They are the backbones of community. If you want change, you must start with a woman. She would touch everybody, including children, men, adults, whoever. So the starting point for us, obviously, is to find the catalyst that can spearhead the change. And the woman was the center of it. And our project is divided into three. We have the community engagement that deals with the training of community, creating awareness in communities, because we are in communities or we work in communities where there is no segregation and collection culture. So to start anything, we need to change the mindset of people. Then we need to start also to look at the people who are already in the industry. These are women. The waste pickers, the majority of the waste pickers are women. So we also ensure that we mobilize the women to become the nucleus or the seed on which we can, build upon. So we mobilize the waste pickers, also train them and give them the essential equipment and tools needed to be able to collect safely. And then also, if you want a change in communities, you need to also, a lasting change in communities, you have to work with children, because long term, they are the ones who are going to carry on the lasting change we want. So we also engage with schools and the children in the schools. Then we have, that is the engagement with our focal people who we work with. Then we also work with the local assemblies or the local government authority. Without their buy-in and them giving us legitimacy, we cannot be successful. There are already structures in the local community that we have to build on. And by that, we need to form collaborative alliances with the community, with these local government authorities. So with them, we first of all, with their buy-in and legitimacy, work with them to open access to the community for us to engage. And then also, because of the type of work we do, sometimes we need public spaces to work. And if you want to work in those public spaces, you need the permission of local government. And so we also engage these local authorities for those purposes. And for the local authorities work, we sign MOUs with them to ensure that the work we do is, streamlined on both sides. So that is the bulk of the community engagement. Then we have the processing part, of which Ghana will come in to also talk about that.
Yeah, so once we enter in the right way in the community, the goal is to organize a collection. And this is the part which is being done with the local government and engaging the waste pickers and the residents and students and so on. But then all that waste, plastic waste, is being collected to be brought to a recycling operation. So it's part of our mission to plant the seed for these recycling operations, which are designed to be of a certain technical level, but not high technical level, such as people from the community can come and work in these recycling plants. And moreover, that as many women as possible can work on the equipment which we put in place. So we provide the seed money to build this, the plant, the building, the equipment, and we also provide the on-the-job training to the operators who are recruited in the communities and they come and work. And this way they have a formal job with a secured income of a certain level, which is far above what they would have had as waste pickers or having occasional daily jobs. In these operations, we got to the point where we know what would make them financially sustainable eventually in terms of size, level of technicity, and type of products to be produced by the recycling plant. Also, the size has to be appropriate to the amount of waste which the community should generate. What I would like to also underline here is we've been quite careful into how these operations would be set up in such a way that even though they are not of high technical level, not high capex to set them up, they do meet a minimum standard in terms of safety, operational correctness. And I really believe that with what we've put together in terms of operation processes, management processes, and processes like, for instance, wastewater management, which really reduce any possible negative impact of such a recycling plant in the community, we are setting the standard for the global south as of what a recycling plant should look like when it is set up in a community. The other thing which is specific to our project, to our approach to ASASE, is that we're looking to close the loop of plastic waste in Ghana for Ghana, which means that we would sell our recycled plastic in forms of regrinds or pallets of plastic to those who produce durable product, not light bags which would come back in the environment, but rather products which would be of use for the communities and would not become waste again. And we are never exporting plastic or pallets outside of Ghana. We didn't do it last year where the market was very difficult. We're not going to do it. We really want to create the maximum number of jobs in Ghana for Ghana.
That sounds great and very well thought through. I wanted to ask you both, what were some of the most important milestones of the project?
Probably the most important ever milestone was to get to a solution which people looking at that would believe that it can be scalable and it can be used as a model, as a part of the solutions to deal with the plastic litter, which eventually gets in the ocean in the global south. Because the moment we been noticed and we started to get the trust of people, like, for instance, our longer-term sponsor and supporter, the Alliance to Plastic Waste, we got access to the money necessary to help us get to the scale which matters. So, there are many initiatives, many projects which are small. And the challenge seemed to be a couple of years ago, how can these small projects become more impactful volume-wise? And for this, you need money. And actually, this brings me to the first challenge, right? You pass a milestone, you get noticed, you start to be observed, and people start trusting you and helping you, but also have questions. So you need to be able to keep the momentum and continue to support your project, your initiative, and for this you need financing. And for projects like ours, for any project in the Global South, financing, it's at the end of the day, and constant financing, it's probably the biggest challenge.
Yes, I can imagine that. Hilda, did you have anything to add on milestones and challenges as well?
Yes, in terms of milestones, I think Dana has said it all. I would add to the challenges. We are community-based. Ours is to make an impact in community, from one community to another. And we are built to take care of the community need. We are not built to overwhelm ourselves. And in these communities that we work, we need critical support on certain things to ensure that we are able to fulfill the desired results that we want to see. Critical for us is availability of land, because if you want to be based in the community to make impact, you need space within the community. In our parts of the world, those public spaces are not reserved for our kind of activities that we do. So that is a critical challenge. We are fortunate that in some of the municipalities that we have gone, we have been able to get land, but in other municipalities, it has not been available. But going forward, that is something that we want to ensure we get in every municipality. And we have had the challenges of space. It's not only space to build the plants, it's also space to collect. We have collection centers that we set up in remote places within the community to aggregate the materials to bring it to the plants. Those spaces, we need them. And most of the time, it's a big challenge for us. Then also, we have bureaucratic issues. Access to electricity can take forever to get it in place. Water connections, road infrastructure, there are a lot of issues that we need to be on bottleneck, that need to be unraveled but we are not able to. And the process of unraveling these can take forever for us to do it. And so those are our critical challenges. But we aim to succeed no matter what. But even if we aim to succeed, those delays are not the best in terms of timelines and all that. So those will be the other challenges that we have been facing as an organization.
That sound tricky. I hope you you find ways to address these and maybe get the local authorities and government to understand how important this is as well. Yeah, I think Dana, you mentioned previously you talked about scalability. I was wondering how could this model be used elsewhere in the world that also struggles with similar issues, and how could that be achieved?
Yeah, we were thinking about it, and we've been even challenged by our sponsors, those who gave us money to get where we are so far, about, how can this be scaled up? And we believe it can, because we had developed modules which can be taken as such. Like, for instance, the blueprint of the operation can be really taken anywhere where a plant of this size is to be installed. The whole model of the community engagement and our way of going from collection to recycling, and we even started to make products like plastic lumber, for instance. That's another part which can be copied and pasted in any other geography. However, there are certain enablers which have to be present if you are to take the model for scale up in other regions. Things like, for instance, the willingness of the government, national and local, to work on the problem of plastic waste, which frankly today with the plastic treaty, the expectation is that most of the governments in the global south would have this openness. However, they have to really demonstrate through committed support to these initiatives that they want to put together enablers, which can be legislation or can be simply having recognized as a priority for the local governments in different parts of the country, have a priority on eliminating the plastic litter. Because if they don't have the priority, they will not support, they will not welcome you, they would not enable you to be part of the community and create this type of jobs and opportunities for people. The other thing is that we're observing, for instance, in Ghana, that because Ghana has a kind of leadership role for West Africa in certain topics, including the plastic problem, solving the plastic problem, there is continuous discussion on how government can collaborate to create the same type of enabling environment for solutions to be developed. And these are all the reasons for which we believe that what we've done can be observed and can be used as a model in other places.
So, as Dana said, it's critical that the enabling environment is created to welcome such initiative. But I think we should, wherever we want to take such initiative through, we have to recognize that those environments lack the basics of plastic collection and recycling. And so if it lacks such basic initiative, we have to build everything from scratch. So if you look at our model takes care of virtually everything. We take care of education, awareness, school engagement, collection, transportation, processing, everything. So wherever we find ourselves or wherever this model is likely to be replicated, we must be prepared to take the whole package on board and deal with it. That is the only way we can see impact. And I am proud to say, or we are proud to say, that in Ghana, we are the only organization that is looking at it holistically. And that is why we are a blueprint or a model to be studied, looked at, and replicated in communities such as our own.
Obviously, collecting plastics is only one part of the problem. What needs to happen on a systemic level to address the issue of plastic and plastic waste before it actually becomes a problem?
That's a good question, isn't it? We need that plastic treaty to get implemented as soon as possible, right? We need the money. We need the infrastructure. And it all starts with creating the awareness that plastic is not a problem. Plastic is actually a solution, an enabler. It's part of the modern life. We have nice examples in which some of our workers who were before waste picker are very articulated when they talk about what plastic waste was for them before ASASE and what it is today. And today for them, it's an enabler for the life change they experience. And we're very proud of this. But let's face it, what we've done is because we had great partners and we had access to financing. On a global south level, on a global level, the financing has to be created for plastic to be managed from the moment it's put on market everywhere in such a way that it doesn't become a problem. When I first went to Africa, to Ghana, I still remember, I will never forget that night flying back in which I was telling myself, Jesus, I come from the plastic industry. I never knew what problem we create without the realization of creating it, because we were offering plastic everywhere, but the infrastructure to collect everything, not only plastic, just to collect waste, didn't exist. The behavior doesn't exist. So you have to really, first and foremost, create the awareness, build the infrastructure, and then develop plastic and sell plastic on various markets.
I think the turning point for us is also the fact that we were able to create the awareness that plastics is not waste. It has value. When something is of no value, it is treated anyhow. But when it is of value, people participate, engage with it, and see it as an economic avenue, and, become part of it. And I think that's the turning point. Even though we have not been able to reach all the goals for which we are set out for, but I think once that critical turning point is made, it's easier to move forward and to create the impact that we want to see.
Absolutely, yes. And I think you mentioned it previously, Dana. I wanted to hear a bit more about your thoughts on the state of discussions around the UN's effort to create a legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, and most recently the INC4 round of discussions in Canada. How do you think, if such a binding instrument gets created, it would have positive effects on ASASE, and how likely do you think this is to actually happen in a not too diluted form?
I keep my hopes very high because we need it. I think that I share this thinking with many people in the industry. I think that without a global treaty, we will not have plastic anymore. The problem is too big. It cannot continue. We are working in a country which is very engaged in the negotiations of the plastic treaty. Ghana is chairing the African delegation, and it's intervened in many discussions throughout the negotiations, all the way to INC4 as well. It has come with a quite bold proposal for financing, which might be unpopular, but seems to provide a very practical way of helping finance part of the gap in basically building the infrastructure. And Ghana also has proven so far high engagement at the highest political level, up to the president. Yes, there will be elections, but we believe that there is no way back. So this type of focus will not change. Now, like everyone, when I said I'm keeping my hopes high in regards to the plastic treaty, I observed the progress which has been achieved throughout the INC4, but I'm also looking with some level of concern at the big challenge which is ahead of us for the intersessional work before the INC5. However, I trust that if the treaty by INC5 will not be fully defined, with the additional extra-sessional work and the drive from the industry, which I'm observing, I'm positive that we will have something operational and that most of the countries will drive for implementation. I only hope that it's not gonna be too political during negotiations, because we're observing this as well. There are two big challenges ahead. One is the agreement on the reduction level, and the other one is the agreement on the different financing mechanisms which are to be developed. The global implementation of the mandatory EPR type financing subsidy would be essential to enable money to be channeled towards the implementation of the solutions and a sustainable life of the initiatives which are necessary to be put in place everywhere, basically. And I'm also looking I'm observing and hoping that this will continue, that the transfer of know-how and expertise from the north to the south will be accelerated and will continue to help the south not do the mistakes of the north in addressing the problems and in putting together the right systems which will avoid us to continue to waste this fantastic resource.
And I was wondering, getting towards the end of the podcast, coming back to ASASE, what are your plans for the coming months? Are there any roadmarks or things you'd like to talk about?
Yes. So, for our growth plan, currently we are in our third municipality called Wejabawe, where we are building our third processing plant and also building the community engagement program towards collection for processing. And that is almost at the tail end of it. We are almost done with the construction of the factory. The community engagement work is well underway. Schools engagement is all well underway. From this municipality, we moved to a different region, which is in the middle of the country. So currently we have worked in Accra, which is the capital and the biggest city in the country. The next biggest city is Kumasi or Ashanti region. And that is where we are starting our second plant and our second engagement work. From there, we'll move to the north. The northern part is semi-industrial. So Kumasi and Accra are industrial. In the north is semi-industrial, a bit rural. So it gives a different, it comes with different dynamics altogether. And then from there, we come back to the south on the western part of the country, where we would have another setup like what we have currently. So in total, we would spread out and have 6 plants in the coming years. In the next 3 years, we'll add 3 more to what we currently have to bring it to 6. So in terms of what we have great prospects.
We're talking about plants and volume, but this also equates into jobs created. Jobs created in, for instance, in the north where jobs are scarce, and created for women. So we're really looking forward to the future as challenging, of course, because it's going to be a different territory for us. But really, it's something which would create a true impact in Ghana.
Absolutely. I would just share one of the activities that we currently are engaged in. So we, have insurance companies that we work with. We insure our properties and all that. And I will tell you that we are making such impact that people are noticing that an insurance company would even take notice of it and decide to be part of it. And by its own volition, launch its own collection system among its workers. And this was just launched last week. It shows that we are touching lives, we are touching people, and people are responding to the change. However little it may be, it takes drops of water to get a bucket full.
Absolutely, yes. That's a very descriptive and great phrase. My very last question was: is there any way for companies or individuals to get involved? People might be listening and think, I'd like to be part of this or of something similar.
We can use any help we can get, because we are not a big organization. We're growing, but we could use more hands. We can use more expertise. Volunteers are always welcome. Students come occasionally as part of their curriculum to get the experience and learn from us, but they also give us in return access to their expertise. They help us professionalize the way we work, train our people, and so on. We can use technical expertise to upgrade our operations, to upgrade our management tools. And honestly, Hilda said it. It's very important that there are more initiatives like ours, because especially in the global south, this is what's needed. Things have to happen, have to start happening. You start small and you become big. So, our invitation to everyone who has the motivation is to just pick up your location, pick up your topic, and try to leverage your expertise to help people address the plastic issue in a professional way, in an efficient and impactful way.
Yes, that's very important words. So hopefully maybe our podcast reaches a few people as well who feel moved to do something. Did you have anything to add to that, Hilda?
I think Dana had summed it all. Who thought that I would be a plastics person today? Everybody can be one if we want to see change in this environment. Plastic is a problem when you make it a problem. You join to make an impact. You can join us. You can decide to start on your own and find other like-minded people like you to work collaboratively. Because in this work, it's also about collaboration. You can't do it alone. So once you get the idea, get other people involved with you to ensure lasting change. It takes one person, but it takes all of us to make it happen.
Absolutely, yes. I think that's a great note to end this podcast on. Yeah, and that just leaves me to thank you both, Hilda and Dana, for being on the podcast with me today and for a really insightful conversation.
Thank you very much for
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And reminder to our listeners, make sure you subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any of the latest episodes. Thank you very much.